Professor Brain Brown's research shows that vulnerability fosters good emotional and mental health. It is a sign of courage. We become more resilient and brave when we embrace who we truly are and what we are feeling. The Vulnerable Scientist podcast is a space for scientists to tell their honest and authentic stories. I am your host, Sarah Nyakeri, who happens to be a scientist, informal science communicator, and I help scientists create personal websites. If you want to support this show, go to www.patreon.com/thevulnerable-scientist. You can also follow this podcast on all social media platforms at TV Scientist Pod. Hi, welcome to another episode of Dr. Afrah's story. And for this part, she talks more about the lows that she's experienced in her career journey. She also talks about, we have this, honest conversations about things that happen in the workplace, especially in the academia side, when looking for grants, how racism plays a role in it, in the South African space. And also, we also talked about gender bias. And the difference here is she talked more about gender bias by women, towards women, not the common gender bias that we think about. And that was kind of interesting, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
And just to make a remark on one thing you said about payment, and that you feel that you need to compensate. So if you are now being paid more, you feel like you need to work more. And I hear you on that one, because I feel the same. I also signed in my new position not knowing how much I would be paid. I was like, I don't care. Actually, I don't want to know. Because the more you know, you will actually act on it not in a good way. However, you realize that these people are paying you more just for your own self-development and growth. Not just, sometimes they don't just pay you for you to conduct the research. Yeah. They do it so you can groom yourself, so you can take care of yourself, so you can be the best version of yourself and do your science. You don't want scientists to come to the lab looking like they are homeless, so good in their work. So they should sometimes maybe tell us, especially we in academia, we don't know how to talk about the money and negotiate it sometimes. And you see, we lack those soft skills. Someone's also told me before. But at least we are aware of the problem, or so that's half the solution. That's what they used to say, knowing the problem.
Wow. So, thanks for saying that.
Sometimes do take care of yourself. That's the key word. Yeah, so many levels.
Okay, sorry, we went on to this.
Yeah.
You talked about balance. It's something very important. Anyway, another law that you would like to talk about?
Yes. Okay, that's important. The way sometimes it's like you are told to behave certain way. I know we need to be professional, but sometimes in science especially, and I've realized this in many, especially I've observed my colleagues and everyone, we are submissive. We tend to keep quiet. We tend to agree. And if you say something contradicting, now it's like you are, like you're against them, like we must, yes, that's a very rebellious act. You must be submissive, and in that way, you lose your scientific voice. You tend to be someone who just agrees, and your character will be and that's one thing that I want to get rid of, because I know your supervisor was supposed to show you the way and stuff, right? But there are certain things that you're not supposed to say, certain things you're not supposed to do. Yes, we need those protocols to keep things aligned, to keep things respectful, but at the same time, don't make it a dictatorship, like you tell people and impose things upon them. So this is, and I've noticed this in the scientific community, the protocol are too much, and maybe with the new generation it might change. So for example, if you laugh, if you make, I tend to laugh a lot, so I'm very happy. I did not explain to you the meaning of my name, which is happiness, and I'm finally realizing.
Afrah.
Yeah, it's like farah in Arabic, so yeah, Afrah. I tend to laugh a lot.
Sounds like Swahili, Furaha.
Yes, you have the name.
I see why we get that. Swahili is more Arabic, like some words came from the Arabic, whatever.
Thank you. And the numbering. Yeah, I know. I had lots of colleagues from Kenya and we spoke about the topic of Swahili. Yeah, so I laugh a lot and people tend to not take me seriously. If you laugh a lot, you're not a good scientist. Like, what is the correlation? Yes, they would think that you're not a serious person. You must come and present yourself as this way and do not laugh, like as if you're modeling science, You're not doing science, you're modeling it. If you don't behave this way, we're not taking you seriously. But how dare you say this? And I don't know, it was quite suppressive to me. So this is one law. We science communication, not that you communicate science to other scientists, but also to know how to communicate science, or we as scientists, we need to define a way on how to communicate. It must be professional, but also at the very same time not suppressive. It does not suppress your character. You must be able to show yourself. One thing I liked your topic, actually, the vulnerable scientist. No one speaks about it as if we are not human beings. You're a scientist. You're supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to. If you show any sign of defect, it means that you're not good. Like I'm telling you, people don't say it, but you can tell from the energy or the way they act towards you. If a scientist comes and say, I'm depressed, for example, I had colleagues who come out like that, and you could see that everyone around is treating them as if they know less, for example.
Oh my God.
You see? So, we human, we tend to judge, you see, but we need to define, we should know better. We, in the science community, we should know better. We should be more understanding. So, I don't know how to fix this, but this is one of the lows, is the communication between us scientists need to be improved. And from top down, not just that you respect, even the big supervisors, they must also respect the students. You find some that they really do not respect the students. I don't know where, because they have the authority, for example, or vice versa. You find a student who do not respect their supervisor and don't listen to them. So, I don't know, maybe we need to make a new field where someone could do science communication between scientists, define the rules and protocols and the etiquettes and how to do things, because it's just a mess. And you'll find that many of students have bad relationship, or they don't live in good terms. I was speaking to one of my friends with their former supervisors. I spoke to her and she was like, oh, my former supervisor doesn't even speak to me. Can you believe that? You reach a point where you don't speak to someone who supervised you for 3, 4, 5 years. Now you don't speak. I understand we're human, but still, over what? Yeah. And I think the reason, I was shocked to hear that, and I know many who would say, I'm glad I left, I'm never looking back. It was a traumatizing experience. It's hardly to find someone who says, oh my God, I enjoyed my PhD. Oh my God, I loved it. Oh my God, my supervisor was amazing, How often do you hear that? Yeah, it's like it's a toxic environment. It's like you're signing yourself into something. So it's very rare. You wouldn't find someone who say it was beautiful. I grew up, I felt different, I learned. No. So,
oh my goodness, I think I need to talk about this supervision.
Yeah. Yes.
Postgraduate supervision.
Exactly.
Talk about that.
Yeah, because you as a supervisor, you have the lead and you once did your PhD and you know how it feels. So
Yeah.
you must at least help the students to have a different experience, actually a positive experience, because now I know, I myself know. So if and I would love to supervise students one day. I'll make sure I'll make it a pleasant experience. I'll make sure they grow, they learn, they're happy. I don't want to hear this, I was depressed during my PhD. No, we must find a new way of doing it. You can't keep going like that. So that's another law.
Wow.
And
Well, I'm glad that you
yeah,
said that. And it made me think about my supervisor. And, as much as I know she doesn't listen to podcast anyway, I really appreciate her. Like, I don't know, sometimes I don't see it, but when I think about it, when people talk about the supervisors, I'm like, wow. Sometimes you don't see things
yeah,
until you're
until
exposed to
you,
them. So I
mhm.
was like, wow. I mean, my supervisor is very supportive. Actually, when I talk about my struggles, people are like, "Hi, is the supervisor stressing you?" I'm like, no, actually, she gives me so much of
Quite the
her time.
opposite. Uh-huh.
The opposite. The opposite thing. And sometimes, it can be a good thing. It can be a good thing to have a very supportive supervisor, but sometimes you wonder,
Mm.
what if it's a lie? Because you think like everybody's saying the wrong thing about their supervisors. What if it's a
Mm.
lie? Maybe something is wrong, and maybe she's thinking I'm not serious enough, with my work. There's that
Exactly.
kind of thing, that kind of worry that comes. But I appreciate. Let me just bring that out there. I really appreciate my current supervisor, as per now, my Ilri supervisor. She's, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And
If it wasn't for her, I would have quit a long time ago.
you are actually one of the few people that I hear them saying something like that.
For me, it's very important. Even when they were interviewing me, it was very important for me to like. It's like kind of interviewing them and knowing, is this the right people I want to be under? For me, I
Mm.
don't. I don't know. I'm selfish naturally, so I really take care of. I really try. Let me say, try to take care of
Mm-hmm.
the people I surround myself with. And sometimes I question myself. Like yesterday, that conversation I was having with that girl that I met, maybe about, let's say, honesty. I'm very, particular when it comes to honest. When someone is not honest with me, I'm like, I don't want to be in that environment anymore, and I'm done with it. But sometimes I'm like, but where will I get that honest person? Because sometimes I'm not honest about some certain things. So
Yeah.
there's a place. I'm in a place where I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to those boundaries and saying there's no, like, if you listen to, I don't know if you've listened to Frederick's podcasts. There's a episode that he did with Dr. Frederick. Oh, he's also in bioinformatics,
I'm gonna
actually.
check it out actually, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he was. I love what he really introduced to the whole thing for me. Like something that he really kept showing up in his journey was his decision to live when it's not good for him. And I love that he talked about that. I think it's very important for people to choose themselves as much as we choose this career. There's also you're the most important actually person in the whole thing, and you need to
Mhm.
choose yourself over certain things that are not working for you.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I agree with you totally. So we really need to not just talk about find solutions, So
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
must find solutions like for real. And you see, sometimes this kind of bad supervision comes in terms of neglect. I see supervisors who just neglect their students, for 3 years, and then when it's the final year and the funding is running out, okay, now let's do things. You've been a lazy student, like they shift the blame on the student. And yeah, and you also get stubborn students who do not listen, and then at the end of the day, they still say it's the supervisor's fault. So we're playing the game of shifting the blame, but we don't know we can't pinpoint the problem. So something needs to be done about it. Otherwise, no one would like to enter academia because they would know they're stepping into a toxic environment. If we do not fix it, it's not just making the science, it's also making the scientists. So, we shall see.
Okay.
Yeah. We shall see. That's all. Otherwise, I keep going till tomorrow.
Another law.
Another law. Inside, I'm trying to think. Yes, I tell you. I remember. Gender bias. Especially, I don't know about other fields, but I want to bring this up. Like, some people think that, let's say you're hiring someone, and I heard this also from someone. If a candidate is a female and a male, they would rather choose the male, thinking that the male would do better because they already brainwashed to think that the man can do better. You see? And that's gender biased in terms of allowing someone to enter into a place. So you tend to find those kind of gender biases coming from women themselves. They bias against themselves. Yeah. And that's what made me really fierce the last time, because you would understand if it's coming from a man, because okay, we're two different, but if another woman does that, it makes you feel like it's like, how far can we go if our enemy is actually ourselves? Another woman, and I know I'm not naming, but I had this experience where I could see there was gender bias. Men are treated better. When they come with ideas, it's accepted. When they come with ideas, it's novel. But if the idea comes from another woman, no, let us not try this. Why don't you just stick to the protocol, for example?
Oh my God.
Or in terms of promotion. And I tell you, these, do you hear the noise outside?
Yeah.
God, I have
kids.
I wish they grown ups. But not scientists. And I'm the same age, but it's the weekend, okay?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Understandable.
So the gender gap, the gender bias, anything gender, it's a big low. And it makes it difficult for a woman to thrive in a scientific environment, because if you apply, someone might not give you that opportunity just because of gender-wise. However, you find that, and I'm sharing this because I want to open people's eyes, you find that the most support as a woman, sometimes you receive it from men, and I call them their allies, men allies. They boost you, they send you far. However, if you encounter another woman that contradicts or encounter you, she can bring you back to level 1, square one from the beginning. So I really need women in science to be kind to each other, to be more understanding for others, and to give more opportunities. Even if the other woman does not show the skills that you're looking for, I don't know, but give the opportunity, help her grow, help her develop. Maybe the reason why is because she's raising a family and have kids and stuff. Maybe that's why she couldn't do this that way. But you must be accommodating and understanding. I don't know how to say this, because I was shocked when I saw this kind of bias is coming from another fellow scientist and a female scientist. So yeah, that's the thing I want to bring. Don't think that when I say gender bias, it's male against female. No, it's not. It's some women thinking that men could do better. So let me make a whole team out of men. Maybe if I need to add women, it's just to make her represent. Sometimes the big companies, they come and see when they are giving you a grant, they need to see the kind of diversity you have in. Yes. So they do that. I once was speaking to a friend of mine. She said, the supervisor herself, I don't know if you want to cast this, but she was like to her secretary or something, please find me a black lady so I can add her to my team. She didn't say find me a scientist or find me a black lady. She's looking for color now to add diversity so she can get more grants. So
I saw this thing on LinkedIn sometime.
Yeah.
Someone posted about it. I didn't think so much about it, but when I read about it, she was talking about her experience, and I was like,
yeah.
Okay, now she's talking about a male who was white and old. so there was those aspects that I was thinking. I was like, maybe because he's still in the older generation. Maybe because he's white. Maybe that's just racism. Maybe because they're just men in the group and they want to look like they need some balance. Maybe it's just justified. But when I read more stories about it, because now when I saw it, I started researching about it. I was like, are there women or people of color, because it doesn't necessarily to be a woman, people of color who are put into a group not because of the skills, but because they are a certain color. As in, if you think about it, someone else would say, but you guys are complaining that you're not giving you opportunities because
So now we're giving.
You've been given. Now you're complaining.
Yeah. See, but it's the intentions. There is a difference between you bringing someone of color so you can improve their lives and skills, and bringing them just because you want to diversify your group. It's different intentions, right? Then so the intentions are different. If the intention is just to bring someone of color so they can your group will look beautiful. I have black, people of color. That's the wrong intention, and it means that you are actually discriminating against them.
Against that person.
Exactly.
That means that person will actually be having a very toxic environment.
Exactly.
And their input will never amount to anything.
Thank you, because they don't believe in you. They just brought you so you can add more color to the group. That's it. That's it. No other reason, We don't believe in you. It's terrible. Someone needs to study these things. Yeah, so as I said, it comes to the intention, so.
Okay, it's painful, it's annoying.
You know what? I always thought about doing stand-up comedy, so I'm adding more to my list, actually. I'm adding more. Yeah, split personality. I'm thinking for it, but I need to be mentored, mentorship. I need to know how to do it right and how to accept the rejection. Me, I'll go and cry. But like, no one laughed at my jokes. I'm never doing this again. So I need to develop that resilience. If someone doesn't laugh, it's okay. Don't take it personally. Yeah. So anyway, we brought the gender bias from a different angle. Not just man against women. No, it's women against women. And bringing color to your company, not skills. So, and sometimes you need to help those people of color to develop their skills, and some wouldn't. Like, no, why would I waste my time? Some also look at it that way. Let me just hire someone who's skilled. I have no time to waste. I'm gonna have a performance gap. No, I can't. There's no time. But really, people need to believe in capacity building. And some are blinded by publications. This year I must publish this number, otherwise I'm not a good scientist. No, I know it's publish or perish, yes. But just make a good balance. Make the science, be human. Make the science and the scientist. So, and be a good human being, with good intentions. Yeah. So, that's the other down. I'm probably, maybe there's more, but I'm gonna scare people out of academia, so. It's still a lovely place.